Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, depending on where in the world you are joining me from. Me, I am Illuminati, and this is the Crypto and Cognac podcast show, as always, live every Thursday, 7 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time, sharp here, YouTube. You know what I mean? And if I'm here, Stevie in the comments, Henny in the glass. What we gonna do? What we gonna do? Pour it up, pour it up. Thank you for being with me. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with me. I appreciate that. Guys, it's a good day in crypto. I mean, every day above the ground is a good day. But today specifically, we're talking a little bit about the market. We're talking a little bit about what's taking place in the market. So, with that said, we have to do some housekeeping before we get into it, right? Because we don't want anybody confused or compromised, right? So, the Crypto and Cognac podcast show is not a financial advisory podcast show. Illuminati is not a financial advisor. Nothing that I share here this evening, last evening, or any evening to come should be misconstrued as financial advice. I'm just a guy drinking some cognac and talking crypto on the interwebs. So, as always, do your own research, right? Don't be distracted by whatever Stephen is saying in the comments. It is not financial advice. Stephen just telling you what Stephen would do. Don't be confused about what Illuminati is telling you that he would do, right? It is not financial advice to go and tell nobody. Illuminati and the brethren Stephen tell you to go and buy this thing and sell this thing and trade this thing. That is not what we are here about, right? So with all of that out of the way, it is time. Where we at? Episode 27, season 7, the Crypto and Cognac podcast show. Over 207 episodes in the bag. Thank you for being here with us. If this is your first time, welcome. What are we talking about today? So, over the last month or so, we have seen the crypto market reignite with some bullish excitement, right? So, Bitcoin has pushed higher, finally seeing itself above 80,000 for the first time in a while. We back down a little bit under, like they can wait for me to just have my little podcast before they start doing all the craziness, right? But additionally, altcoins have been waking up a little bit. And of course, social sentiment is shifting a little bit positive, right? And of course, when those things happen, the financial media starts discussing potential new highs and all these different things. So the question is this the beginning of a new and major expansion phase in this cycle, or is the market setting a classic bull trap for everybody to fall into? Right. So today we're going to look at a little bit of the macroeconomics. We're going to look at not so much technical analysis, but some market psychology and what the institutional players are doing. And most importantly, we're going to be looking at historical norms, right? Because even though history does not often repeat itself, it might rhyme, right? So, the fact is that every cycle, every Bitcoin cycle so far has had these moments where the market tests the conviction of those of us operating in the market, right? And not just the price conviction, but the emotional conviction. Like I always say, sentiment analysis is oftentimes a better indicator of what the market will do because technicals only tell you what happened after the sentiment which drove the action that the technicals now reported on, right? So we've seen some green candles, influencers start getting bullish, and then retail starts to, trickle in. We start seeing memes again. We start hearing people talking about to the moon, who start picking out the color of their Lamborghini, and everybody getting excited. But experienced investors know that most importantly, the market loves liquidity, right? And liquidity might mean exit liquidity. So you have to be careful. So again, is Bitcoin breaking into a new phase of the bull market, or is this setting up a perfect bull trap? So what exactly is a bull trap, right? A bull trap is where price appears to break upwards convincingly, market sentiment rapidly shifts bullish, traders pile in to long positions, that's on the leverage side, and then the momentum is abruptly pulled out from under and reverses downwards. What happens as a result of that is that the late buyers end up getting trapped, leverage longs get liquidated, and what would have happened is that the smart money would have exited earlier to strength, right? So what are some of the key characteristics? Obviously, rapid price acceleration. We saw a little bit of that, not so significant yet. We've seen overconfidence sentiment. It don't take much for us to get there. We are seeing the leverage starting to build up. There are people talking about 100K being the next target. Even the people who think we're gonna bounce off of 100K and do poorly believe we're gonna get to 100K. When most people start believing something gonna happen, I tend to look in the other direction. We tend to see declining spot demand beneath the surface. That hasn't really happened. Actually, we're seeing the least amount of Bitcoin on exchanges. So, but that could come back on real quick, and we're seeing retail FOMO is starting to return. Not too aggressive just yet, but we are seeing some retail FOMO. We are seeing Google searches starting to increase around questions about Bitcoin price action. So this, especially for me, looks like a repeat of what we've seen in previous cycles. Now, interestingly enough, leading up to this month, leading up to May, the group chats that I'm involved in, people been talking about whether or not we're gonna see the classic bull trap in May, because the whole saying "sell in May and go away," right? I personally believe that we're not going to see any new all-time highs this year, but I've been wrong before and I could be wrong again, right? But like I've been saying, I'm kind of eased off until around November, which is when I'm going to start um, doing some more convincing, convicted buying. But what we are seeing is a little bit of attention. Um, what I've seen recently on the institutional side is, while ETF demand continues to stay constant, we are seeing a change in narrative, especially coming out of Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy, which kind of indicates that they've been doing some selling, but they're still saying, buy more than you could sell, which was a quote that he used recently. So for me, yes, I don't think the correction that we are going to see, outside of some black swan event, I don't think the correction down is going to be as tragic as maybe previous cycles. I still think we're going to see into the 50,000 range, maybe the upper band of the 50,000 range, because we still have a lot of institutional demand via ETFs, and the cycle seems to be a lot less driven by retail as previous cycles. Also, the amount of retail that it requires to move the market at these levels is a lot more significant as compared to previous cycles. So I don't expect for us to be seeing, um, 60, 70,000, 70% drawdowns from here, but I still think we have a 30-40% in us in terms of that correction. Um, like I said, I can't get away from the whole idea of selling me and go away. I think people still buy into that, and I think we're gonna see that represented on the charts soon enough. I think when we experience this little um, move upwards, I think the rejection is going to be catastrophic from a emotional sentiment, psychological perspective. And I think when that happens, people are going to kind of resign themselves to the fact that, okay, this super cycle, this next phase of the bull cycle is not real. This is just crypto as crypto in. The bull cycle is over. Let's start looking at the bear market to come and that time to pass, and let's move on. I mean, I wouldn't consider, and even with that said, I wouldn't consider this necessarily a bull trap, because I don't think that we are seeing the euphoria and the mania that we've seen in previous cycles. We're not really seeing um, retail rushing in as before. We are seeing some movement, but from the volumes I'm seeing, it's not a lot of volume that is moving the market in these upward movements. So I think even this bull trap is probably not going to capture as many bulls as maybe previous cycles, but one or two people are going to be left hung out to dry as a result of it. So what I keep saying is stay committed, stay consistent with your strategy. DCA, as for always, make sure you are not investing more than you could afford to lose. Make sure you're doing your own research, especially around altcoins, especially around meme tokens. Make sure you understand what you're getting involved in at this stage of the market. And it's things that, if you get caught out, these are things that you have no problem being in for the next, you know, year or two, until the market corrects, things that you expect to be around in a year or two. And yeah, I mean, keep DC in, right? Now is not the time to be betting the farm, right? That stage of the cycle, I think, has long gone. If you have some insider information and you have the capital to risk, go for it. I mean, if you have some insider information, hit your boy up, hit CV up, let us know too. We want to be on the inside too. Right? We even seeing that inside trader who has been, very successful trading um President Trump's announcements, even they getting a better licks recently. So like I said, now is not the time to be going guns blazing, to be going wild. Yeah. CV, what's your thoughts? Yeah. Do your own research, right? And be safe. That's my take. What am I doing? Me, I'll be selling in May and going away. Not all, of course, but now is I think gonna be shaving a little bit off the top, not the hair, but um yeah, and just wait until November. I'll be going till November. I'll be going till November. For those of you who know that song, guys, that's my time. Right? See you all next week. Hope it was worth your while spending a little time with me on this crazy cryptic Thursday afternoon talking cryptocurrency. Guys, Illuminati, OUT. Have a blessed week. Stay safe. Do your own research.